What are some signs that you are being manipulated? Everything is always your fault. When you catch them in a lie and you know they've lied, but they still don't admit they've lied. I wouldn't have had to do that if you weren't so, something that makes you the bad guy here. It sounds like my parents. Same. Even when there's obvious fault, it's always, well, what else was I supposed to do? Or I shouldn't have had to do that. They just don't like to admit their fault. Ick me. This crap exactly happened to me. Had a friend in the group who bullied me. A lot. I had another friend who I brought the issue up with. The very next time I had an interaction with the bully, he went all gas no brakes on tormenting me. And it finally clicked when he started saying crap I said to my other friend word for word. To be clear, I didn't talk crap, I just brought up my concern. I go back to the other friend and he flat out lies to me and claims he didn't tell the bully anything at all. I gave that friend so many obvious chances that I knew he was lying and he could redeem himself by coming clean. Nope, that piece of crap rather would go to the grave than admit it, not friends anymore. Manipulators often induce uncomfortable, negative feelings such as fear, guilt, or shame to get you to do what they want. Pay attention to the feelings you get around other people. If you really loved me, you would do, insert thing here. There's times when that is appropriate to say, example, if you really loved me, you wouldn't cheat on me. Just, yeah. My ex would say this all the time but screaming, and I wasn't cheating on him, never did, just had male friends. Laughing out loud. That's sad. Definitely not what I mean. Sorry that happened to you. Literally my roommate. She had the audacity to say that she's not a controlling person. Bitch, you are the most controlling, boundary overstepping butthole I've ever met. Edit. Actually, butthole is probably a bit harsh. She has some mental issues, and I'm pretty sure she has undiagnosed autism, as she has no social awareness. Her behavior is just infuriating, and she gets defensive when I try to communicate. Moving out in a few months though, so it ain't too bad. A reminder from an autistic person that autism doesn't excuse being a jerk. An autistic person might do something rude or overstep by accident, yes. If you clearly explain to them what they did, how it made you feel, and how you'd prefer them to act in the future, they should make some attempt to improve their behavior in the future. That's autism. If you communicate clearly with them and they ignore it, they're just a jerk. Another autistic person chiming in, if you tell an autistic person that their behavior hurt you, a lot of us will immediately apologize and feel horrible. If someone blames all their crafty behavior on their autism, please drop kick them. The people who I have known to be the fastest to try to work on their own behavior are those with functioning autism. They are aware that they don't understand, and when I've talked to them, known to personally, they were extremely grateful to have an explanation. It also really helped to explain an example for them to kind of base their future behavior on, so they know a good starting point. It's a major misconception that autistic people don't have empathy. When they realize what they did was wrong, they have lots of empathy and feel bad. Either I'm autistic or that sounds like quality human decency, and I know far too many folks who are almost certainly not autistic whom I wish had 1/100th of this decency. A habitual line stepper, as Charlie Murphy would have said. She had the audacity to say that she's not a controlling person. People that aren't controlling never have to say that. It doesn't even enter in their minds that they have to say that. The only people that would say it are controlling people. It's like when someone in a relationship tells you that other relationships are just as bad. You know who doesn't have to tell you other relationships are just as bad? People that don't make relationships bad. People that aren't in bad relationships and are trying to keep someone in one too. Conversely, good people are the only ones who worry if they're good people. As someone who's done some not so great things, and has been trying to work to be better in general, I struggle with this constantly. I know I'm not the person I was before. I know I make better choices. And I know I treat people way better than I used to. I'd imagine most of the people I know might tell me I'm a decent, or even good person. But I still think I'm a crap. I can't help it. I always assume everyone around me hates me, and is just secretly keeping it to themselves. Because that's the way it was before. I spend a lot of time wondering whether or not I'm doing a good job, or being a good person. And I ask that question of myself to people around me often. It sucks feeling like you're always doing badly while everyone is telling you you're doing well. This is actually a good tip in general. Our brain and body pick up subconsciously a lot more than we know, and processes it in background and gives to our consciousness sensations, gut feelings, instincts, etc. Obviously, there are a lot of factors behind how we feel around someone, but most of the time, if you pick up a certain vibe from someone, there is a cause. If you have a bit of critical thinking and pair it to pretty basic body, and more importantly, face language, you can connect a lot more dots about human behavior. Thinking to yourself, no, he or she wouldn't be doing this on purpose to me one too many times. Wow, this one hits me hard. Story time? Not going to go into it much, but it reminds me of my current girlfriend. From someone who has been here. Leaving effing sucks, but once you do it, everything is better. I dated a girl, in high school, who got really mad at me because we ended up having a class with an attractive friend of mine. This is after she effed one of my best friends, then lied to me several times about how she'd stopped talking to him, then slept in another guy's bed after a night of drinking, and told me I overreacted because nothing happened and they were just friends, and plenty more. But I loved her, so I kept on keeping on. Seriously. Get out. I dated a girl, in high school, who got really mad at me because we ended up having a class with an attractive friend of mine. In my experience, the people who are most suspicious/jealous are the ones who are most likely to cheat themselves. It's them projecting their own flaws onto others. Sucks that you had to go through that, but good on you for getting out. I only get jealous/insecure/worried because I've been cheated on before. I'm working on it though. I recognize that my own insecurity stems from some pretty deep-rooted abandonment trauma. I've never cheated on anyone, nor would I/want to, but I got to pretty deep track in my psyche that's absolutely certain I can't trust people I love won't leave me in some way. Being afraid that I'm being cheated on is a big way that has manifested, even with zero evidence. I've gotten a million times better, but it doesn't really go away for me. I've just learned to accept that it's there and learn to talk to myself/remind myself it's not true. Didn't mean to unload all that, but I'm so sorry you were cheated on and I hope it gets better for you. Brutal, man. Good for you though. Good luck, man. I hope you have someone to talk with and manage to solve the situation. Talk to someone about it, it helps. Doesn't really matter though who, but talk. Talk to someone you can comfortably talk to. Speaking from experience. Back when I was in a bad relationship, I used to vent to my coworker because they were literally the only person I interacted with that wasn't associated with my, now, ex. Eventually he told me, you know, you just told me something similar last week. And I think this is like the 5th time you've mentioned something like this happening recently. It was such an eye-opener. I had realized that I was putting up with the same crap over and over again and it wasn't getting better even though we kept having conversations about how he would change. He was gaslighting me constantly to make it seem like this didn't just occur recently or that he hadn't promised anything. Having that outside person looking in was a huge part of me getting up the courage to leave. Current boyfriend, same. Phew. This sucks. Usually you don't really realize it. When other people start telling you there's a problem, that's when you finally realize. That's what it took for me. When you look back later, you can finally see what everyone else saw. For me, it was a friend mirroring the words I said to him 20 years prior when his ex was gaslighting him. How long are you going to let her do this to you, man? I had to struggle against the way she trained me not to question her to gain the strength to leave her. But as her influence waned, I realized more and more how bad it was. If you're the third party, remember to deliver the message in the best way possible. Tons of stories have been posted on this sub and elsewhere of people hearing their friends and family telling them they were making a mistake by staying with toxic people, yet they didn't listen. The way the message was delivered made the difference. For example, 1. People deliver the message in a passive-aggressive manner, or in a roundabout way so the person doesn't feel attacked. The receiver either thinks they're just being jealous buttholes, or overthinking the situation so they don't listen. 2. The person delivering the message is someone they dislike so they don't listen. Period. People have suggested anonymous letters/emails/fourth-party mediator like a parent. Just find the right way to tell that person. You are being forced to make decisions that you are uncomfortable with. You feel like someone is always pushing you to make rush decisions. You never get the last word. Someone behaving differently in public versus in private. Someone behaving differently in public versus in private. I think this one is too vague. It's fine if your partner isn't super into PDA but then is more physically affectionate in private. I'd say the problem would be if their public reputation would be hurt if people knew how they act in private. When you do what people want you to do, but they won't do what you want them to do. Yes. And if they then call you selfish for not doing what they want, that's a big red flag. Then call you selfish for not doing what they want. I love this. Can you do X for me? No. You're so selfish. Bitch, are you not being selfish asking me for something? My mother and brother was like this. I was always the butthole and selfish for not doing what they told me to do as I'm trying my hardest to actually do it. I was never able to sit down for longer than 20 minutes or even be a child. Every time the kitchen needed to be cleaned I was told to do it. I rotated my mom laundry more times than she did and she would get pissed at me for not doing it right. Seriously, it's no laughing matter getting manipulated, but everyone would just say that I'm obviously not listening enough or I'm being selfish. Although on a lighter side, I'm now living with my caring and loving father who treats me well and gives me all the free time in the world, and I'm much happier now. Relatable. My dad worked his ass off in a very stressful and labor-intensive job. My mom did occasional office work for him, but was a stay-at-home mom for the most part. She would sit on the couch on her phone and yell at my brother and I to do, and I am not exaggerating, all of the housework. I have absolutely no problem pulling my weight around the house. In fact, my fiancé and I do all the household tasks as a team and it's amazing. But she didn't do crap. We even had a maid that came once a week, but our mom wouldn't lift a finger in between the maid coming. The nights before the maid came were always the worst. My mom would freak out and scream at us to deep clean everything because she didn't want us to embarrass her. My dad finally divorced her, and him and I have a great relationship. Not close at all with mom though. This is called a double bind. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's emotional blackmail. You're being manipulated when the essential message is, be reasonable and do things my way. I realized a lot of my friendships were like this because my parents were like this. It's a painful thing to realize, but recognizing the continuation of associating with toxic people is huge and important and puts you in a lot of control of your future. Once I learned the behaviors of that personality, I could work on changing my behaviors and learn to not seek that toxicity out. You can do it. Thank you for this. This makes me feel not alone in this journey. Both my parents and a lot of people I have been around are like this. I currently have 0 friends, but I am happier and I now know what I appreciate in people and am unashamed to seek them out and ask for friendship. If you don't accept my solution to the problem, you secretly don't want help at all. This was about a thing in school I didn't understand. My father's solution didn't correspond with what I learned before. So he told me I wasn't interested in school. I lost my crap with him that day. He told me I could walk. I didn't like it. He was driving my car. This is good and answers the question. I've been seeing a lot of examples of manipulation but not any signs from the manipulator. Whether it be a sly gaze or consistently asking for reaffirmation after a request or general tone/message like you said. Also, asking yourself if something is wrong, intuition, isn't a sign from a manipulator. They use the threat of leaving a relationship to get their way. Edit, clarifying because several people have made good points about legitimate boundaries. I am referring to frequent threats to end the relationship over wants instead of needs or threats instead of communication or compromise. I would absolutely differentiate these from an ultimatum and consider them manipulation. This one hurts the most. You lied to me about something important and now I want to talk about it. I deserve an explanation/apology. Fine, I'm always in trouble anyway, guess I'll just pack my crap and leave over. And over. And over. Ah shit, I didn't realize he was doing that because it's all backwards. Instead of saying if you don't do X I'll leave, it's like if that's the case, how could you possibly stand to be with me? Like he's about to leave because I brought up something that's bothering me and then I end up comforting him and Thank you for giving me a new perspective on this one. If it happens again, I'll have a better way of explaining to him why this bothers me. Thumbs up. I don't want to break up. I want you to do better and talk about crap. It's like, damn, I love you, could you please just have a conversation? I feel this in my soul. Finally said, fine, get the F out and don't come back. Edit. Well, hey, I love you guys. Same. One too many times of having the relationship held hostage over her apologizing or at least recognizing my feelings that I just had to leave cold turkey one day. Emotional abuse is awful. The best way to put a stop on that behavior is to say goodbye. Yeah, I know. Trying to get the courage. I really care. I know. I have been there, but what really convinced me to leave was realizing that I could either be unhappy for my whole life or for a few months. That relationship had lasted 10 years, but I didn't want to feel bad around someone every day. I had started being depressed and anxious. All that gaslighting had me convinced that I was completely insane. It does get better though. When you stop interacting with a manipulator, you are free to re-explore who you truly are, even if it does take time to trust yourself again. It's important to note that threatening to leave to get their way and communicating their requirements for the relationship to continue are different. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.